Howdy, folks. Welcome to All-12 Courtside. The outright league title comes down to 2 games on Saturday. Thanks for joining us. I'm Rob Collins.
I'm Harold Kuntz. All 10 teams in the conference are headed to Kansas City for the Big 12 tournament next week. Now, with last night's win over TCU, the Kansas Jayhawks know they've captured at least a share of the Big 12 title. It's the Jayhawks' 17th Big 12 title in 19 years.
They've won a lot of them, my man. Kansas senior Udoka Azubuike and sophomore guard Devon Dotson have been named 2 of the 10 semifinalists for the Naismith Trophy. That's, of course, awarded to college basketball's Player of the Year. The final 4 of those guys will be announced March 17th, and, of course, after the tournament, we'll get the winner.
Yeah.
But it was quite the fieldhouse farewell for Doak and most likely sophomore Devon Dotson. Tuesday night, the dynamic duo combined for 49 of the team's 75 points in the win over TCU. Doak put up a career-high 31 points to finish out his career inside the fieldhouse. KU wins its 62nd conference crown, at least to share the Big 12 trophy, and Von Dotson says that's why he returned.
The season we had last season came up short of, that goal of winning it. And, just that feeling, like you said, with the guys getting the trophy and just bringing it back to where it belongs, in Lawrence, Kansas. So the Big 12 title, hopefully we keep it going.
Being consistent on the road, like going out there, fighting every night. We just got a fighting spirit, and I think that's what Coach was talking about, and that's what he's proud of.
Now, it'll be interesting to see how much Doak, Dotson, and Marcus Garrett play on Saturday against Tech. Silvio De Souza, he's eligible to come back to play, Harold, if they need him.
Yeah, what Bill Self said after the game was basically he doesn't know. He doesn't really have a plan yet for what minutes he gets, what rotation he's in. He kind of likes the rotation he has now. He also was skeptical about playing, of course, Marcus Garrett or even Udoka Azubuike, but he ended up saying that he liked the way they played. They felt good after the game, so they're going to give him a ride on Saturday.
Yeah, he got his 500th win there, and you were there to see it.
Yeah, it was a pretty cool moment. Obviously, senior night where Bill Self is addressing the crowd after the game. I mean, the thing that made sense to me and what really stood out was the fact that he said this is the proudest he's been of a Big 12 championship team, which is a lot to say, but he loves how they fought through adversity, knowing full well that Baylor was not giving them any space. But for them to at least get a share. Now, Baylor can, of course, get a share if KU slips up Saturday. But he was really proud of the way they came back, fought through some adversity, and got the win at the end of the day.
Yeah, good, solid team effort. And you mentioned it. The only thing standing in the way of the Jayhawks and another outright Big 12 conference title is Texas Tech.
Yeah, the 2 meet in Lubbock Saturday afternoon, and the Red Raiders hope history repeats itself and they can spoil the Jayhawks' hopes at home. KWKT's Matt Roberts has more from Waco.
Chris Beard's Red Raiders continue to head in the wrong direction as conference play winds down and now try to get out of that rut with easily the toughest remaining schedule of the Big 12 teams. And it started Monday night against the 4th-ranked Baylor Bears at Waco. The Red Raiders were game, unfortunately unable to finish the game against the Bears, falling 71-68 in overtime. It's Texas Tech's 7th loss in either overtime or by 5 points or less. And they are now 0-4 in OT games this season. The Red Raiders playing teams tough in most cases in conference play, just yet to figure out how to consistently get over the hump in crunch time.
It's tough to answer. We work on closing games, both in the film room and in individuals and practice. We have a plan late in the game. Ultimately, I don't know, I think there's kind of an experience factor to it too. I really believe that. I remember Keenan Evans, who I thought was the best player in the Big 12 his senior year, college player. As a junior, he was right there, and then as a senior, it was 10 out of 10 when it came to time to finish the game. So I think there's a lot of, there's an experience factor to it. So as disappointing it is to come up short in games like tonight, I think there's some valuable silver lining lessons. These same players out there were playing 3 freshmen, 4 tonight, and 2 sophomores. And, I think our day will come, and I predict it'll be sooner than later. And I think we'll be on the other end of one of these games, hopefully as this season goes on.
Now, this is the second time this season the Red Raiders have lost 3 straight games. The last time they did that, they were able to bounce back with a win over top-ranked Louisville earlier this season. They try to do it again against top-ranked Kansas Saturday at 1 o'clock at United Supermarkets Arena. That'll do it from here in Lubbock. Let's send it back to you in Kansas City.
Yeah, not Waco, Lubbock, West Texas.
I knew what you meant.
Not South Central.
It's all good.
Hey, if Texas Tech beats Kansas Saturday, that opens the door, of course, for Baylor to come in and share the title.
Yeah, but the Baylors, they have to win. They got to make it happen against a pretty good team.
The Baylor Bears are back on track and still in the Big 12 title hunt after outlasting Texas Tech in overtime on Big Monday in a game that might not have been aesthetically pleasing to most, but the Bears were without their do-everything forward Mark Vidal and Tristan Clark, who are dealing with injuries. And while easy wins are easier on the heart for this Baylor squad, gritty efforts like their win on Monday night are ones that can launch this team into a deep postseason run.
These games right here are what make a national champion. These games right here where we have the battle and we're being battle tested, we're going overtime, and shots not falling, and these are the games that make a national champion.
These are those type of games that make or break a season, and you're going to have a number of these games, and you got to win them to have confidence.
Vidal and Clark could return to the floor on Saturday against West Virginia, and the extra couple days between games will increase their chances of playing on Saturday. And after the 17 rounds of this Big 12 fight, the Bears have certainly taken their lumps on the injury front, but they're not spending too much time worrying about any of that.
Everybody in the Big 12 is beat up and everybody's tired. I think one thing I'm really appreciative is, like, you take Mark Vidal, for instance, and we weren't going to play him, and he's like, hey, look, I just want to stay on the bike in case you need me. And then he's like, hey, I can give it a try. I can give it a try. And, I mean, the guy can't walk. So, I mean, but you want players to want to play like that.
The Bears will now turn their attention to the Mountaineers of West Virginia, where a win would keep them alive in the Big 12 title race, but then we need some help from the Red Raiders as they host Kansas, because a Baylor win and a Kansas loss would give the Bears a share of their first conference title since 1950. In Waco for All 12 Courtside, I'm Matt Roberts.
All right, Matt, thank you. After enduring a bad late-season slump, West Virginia picked up a much-needed win against Iowa State on Tuesday. Nick Farrell in Morgantown now to explain how the Mountaineers finally put an end to that streak.
The Mountaineers entered the final week of the regular season losers of 3 straight and 6 of their last 7, mainly because of troubles on offense. But then, Tuesday night at Iowa State, something seemed to click. West Virginia ended a 6-game road losing streak by beating the Cyclones 77-71 in an important game for postseason seeding. During that slump, West Virginia had been abysmal in 3 categories: turnovers, foul shooting, and 3-point percentage. But against Iowa State, it shot 85% from the line in the second half and committed just 10 turnovers in the game. But maybe the most telling stat was the final score. West Virginia held on to win a game by single digits for the first time in a month.
We're really young, and we haven't been in situations like that, like veteran teams have. We've done some really dumb things at times.
Another major test coming up for the Mountaineers as they continue to battle for a first-round bye at the Big 12 Championship. West Virginia hosts number 4 Baylor Saturday to conclude the regular season. In Morgantown, I'm Nick Farrell for All 12 Courtside. Back to you in Kansas City.
All right, Nick, thank you very much. A couple weeks ago on the show, we pretty much left the Longhorns for dead.
We were discussing coaching candidates.
We were.
Yeah.
Shaka was going to stick around.
He must have listened.
He was on the hot seat.
Yeah.
Well, they've got it going on. They vaulted themselves into a tie for 3rd place in a quick period of time in the Big 12.
I will say Becky Hammond should be a head coach one day. But that's just me. Maybe it's Texas, maybe it's somewhere else. You never know.
We'll see.
The Longhorns have won their last 5 games, but as Jonathan Thomas tells us, there's still more work to do for Shaka Smart's team in the regular season finale.
Left for dead at one point, Texas is now the hottest team in the conference after winning 2 tournament resume-boosting games this past week. First, the Longhorns avenged their home loss to Texas Tech by knocking off the Red Raiders in Lubbock 68-58. In that game, the legend of Andrew Jones continued to grow as he scored 22 points, tying his career high. That was their 4th straight win, but win number 5 came in dramatic fashion. Texas played their heated rivals Oklahoma in a defensive battle that went down to the wire. Junior guard Matt Coleman was the only player to score in double figures for Texas, scoring 21 points overall. But it was the final 3 that were the most important for Texas and their NCAA tournament chances. Coleman drilled the game-winning 3-pointer with 0.4 of a second left to win the game for the Longhorns 52-51, prolonging a winning streak that seemed improbable just a couple of weeks ago.
It's a combination of just a little passion, a little luck, and a little of March. So guys just continue to play hard. It's been an unbelievable 5-game stretch. We have guys got injured, and just have guys just stepping up, man. Royce Ham, Brock Cunningham, Andrew Jones, Courtney Ramey. So just guys are just playing loose and just having fun.
Next up for Texas, they will host Oklahoma State Saturday afternoon at the Frank Irwin Center. Tip-off will be at 3 o'clock. The Longhorns defeated Oklahoma State 76-64 when they met back in mid-January. That's it for us here. Let's go back to you in Kansas City.
All right, appreciate it much. And I will say the 3 through 6 there in the Big 12, you got 9-8, 9-8, 8-9, 8-9. I mean, that's going to be pretty confusing when it comes to the Big 12 tournament there.
It will, but is there one of those 4 that can maybe upset somebody, maybe bite somebody? Because the Kansas Baylor obviously are at far reach better than most of those guys.
Not so sure at the moment. I know Texas is playing well right now, but then they could flip a switch and then Oklahoma could play better, or West Virginia could turn it up. I mean, those guys are good. These guys are great. I just don't know if they're able to do it. But we'll see what happens.
We'll see.
We'll see what their report says, too, because they're ranked at number 8 in the Big 12 Conference. And it may seem like the Cowboys' season is over, Rob.
Yeah, but they still have something to play for. This means we wrote them off.
Yeah,
they're back. They're back.
Yeah,
okay.
like their
season.
Season. Yeah, okay.
They're up and down, like most of the teams in the Big 12 other than Kansas and Baylor. So they do have something to play for in the Big 12 tournament next week. It's just they got to get past Texas first.
After struggling early in Big 12 play, Oklahoma State's basketball team is trying to finish their conference slate strong with their final 2 home games of the season, starting with Senior Day, featuring some stars back inside Gallagher-Iba Arena. And not only was it OSU Senior Day, but Tony Allen was back in Stillwater. He saw OSU seniors shine against Iowa State. Thomas DeZagua, Cam McGriff, and Lindy Waters combined for 43 Cowboy points as Mike Boynton's boys beat the Cyclones 73-61. The Cowboys head coach couldn't have been more proud of the seniors after all they've been through.
I think they've shown that we shouldn't paint with a broad brush, that kids are not tough or aren't resilient or can't handle things when they don't go well. They're exactly the opposite. And I've got a 7-year-old son, and if he's like those guys, I'll be a proud dad.
Pretty powerful stuff. And OSU's true home finale, they're taking on Kansas State. Big Country was sitting courtside to see Thomas DeZagua hit a 3 here. He had 11 points in his last game ever inside Gallagher-Iba Arena. She was pretty fired up about that, clearly. Cam McGriff, another one of OSU seniors, is going to go out in style. Watch this, off the miss. McGriff with a monster dunk there. He had 14 points in the win. We'll get one more look at the dunk here as OSU wins 69-63.
Proud of our kids, man. Like I said, we fought through a pretty tough stretch at some point this year, and they responded like champions and played like it mattered to put on that jersey every day. And for us to finish the regular season at home anyway with this win was really important.
The Cowboys closed out the regular season in Austin against Texas. The Longhorns beat OSU by 12 in their first matchup in Stillwater. That's our Oklahoma State recap. Back to you.
All right, Nate, thank you very much. Iowa State usually brings a lot of fans to the Big 12 tournament. They usually make some noise.
They enjoy the beverages.
They enjoy the power line, especially early.
I've heard.
No, there's a group. I've may or may not have had a beverage with that group before.
A group of people with beverages may or may not have intruded in one of our live shots before, too. So, hey, keep them coming. Keep them coming, man. Stay classy.
The players are hoping to turn things around, though, before the fans invade Kansas City for that Big 12 tournament.
Yeah, the Cyclones played host to the Mountaineers Tuesday night. First half, Mountaineers down 1. Jordan McCabe left it for Derek Culver, and West Virginia goes up 1. Later, first, Solomon Young. How about that two-handed slam? The Cyclones are down 9. But moments later, West Virginia now up 12. Culver gets the over-the-top pass, lays it in. He had 14 points in the first half. The Mountaineers were up 14. Second half, we go. Iowa State down 4. Here's Prentice Nixon. He gets some hype in Hilton. Downtown we go. He connects on the triple from deep. Moments later, Nixon knocks down the catch-and-shoot 3. But here comes West Virginia. Back at it again on the inside. I think that's Mr. Oscar Tshiebwe being a man among boys.
Man.
And rebound and fight inside. Bucket and foul. West Virginia won that one. 77-71. The Cyclones will head to Manhattan to take on the Wildcats Saturday at 3 p.m.
And speaking of those Wildcats, K-State's season is slowly coming to a close as the Cats prepare for Senior Day against aforementioned Iowa State. Has not been a good year for Bruce Weber's club. 2 wins.
It's the most losses in school history.
10 in a row.
Yeah, it's been rough for them in Manhattan. Bruce Weber you want to say he's a good coach. He's got him doing Elite Eight. He's got him to 2 straight tournament runs. But they're hoping for something positive out of finale Saturday night heading into the Big 12 tournament next week. We got KSNT's Sully Ingalls from Manhattan.
Is it over yet? That's what K-State fans have to be asking. The 2019-2020 affair for the Wildcats is coming to a close, and this is a season that the program and fans and anyone else involved with K-State basketball is ready to put behind them. The loss to Oklahoma State Wednesday evening, 69-63, drops the Cats to 21 losses on the year, a number that would have seemed impossible if you asked those around the program to start the year. They shot just 36% from the field, 19 from three-point land, the same poor shooting that's plagued them all season. Before the loss last night, K-State did play some better basketball in their loss to KU in the Sunflower Showdown, so maybe there are some positives to take away from this year so far.
We've always prided ourselves on defense, and you know, we just, you know, we haven't been quite as good defensively, and you know, play together. You know, Coach Snyder sent me a text, and we talked about it all week. 100% commitment to teamwork and selflessness, and that's what I talked about all week, and that's got to be our commitment here this last stretch of this last week. And you know, if anything, do it for themselves.
K-State will put this baby to bed against Iowa State on Saturday at Bramlage. Senior night for a few Cats, and hopefully something to positive to head to the Big 12 tournament with. Reporting for All12 Courtside, this is Sully Ingalls. Back to you.
Sully, we'll see you on Wednesday.
Yeah,
we'll see you on the first day of the
we know that
tournament
for sure.
Yeah,
we know
for sure
where
that's going to happen.
K-State's going to play, yeah.
All right, now this is a bubblicious team right here. Oklahoma, the men's basketball team, went through a roller coaster week to close out the Big 12 regular season.
What flavor of bubblicious are they, per se?
That's a good question. Rocky Road.
Really? Oh, I
Yeah.
see what you did there
Yeah.
because it's been a rocky road.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm trying to get quick on the whistle here.
Nate Fagan reports the Sooners picked up a huge win in Morgantown and then lost that heartbreaker to Texas.
What a roller coaster ride the last week has been for Oklahoma's basketball program. With their tournament hopes on the line, the Sooners first helped their chances to make the big dance. Then after getting their hearts broken, they may have seriously hurt them at the very same time. First, the Sooners stormed into Morgantown to take on the Mountaineers on their way to a 73-62 win. It was the Sooners' second straight win over a top 25 program. 4 Sooners scored in double figures. OU was led by Christian Doolittle's 19 points, and he did it all with a mask protecting his broken nose. The win set the stage for Doolittle's senior day back in Norman.
Realer and realer as the day goes on. You know, when I wake up tomorrow, I'll know that, you know, it's senior night. You know, it's crazy that 4 years have already gone by, but, you know, it's time. Honestly, I'm just more focused on winning the game, you know, with the implications that lie with that. Just continue to finish out strong and not trying to make it about me or anything.
Doolittle's senior day turned into a nightmare, though, after he missed 2 free throws to clinch the win. Texas's Matt Coleman raced down the court, banked in a 3 for the lead with just .04 seconds left, leading to a Longhorn 1-point win in Norman in a heartbroken Sooner squad. Lon Kruger could only say so much to his team after a loss like that.
Seemed like we were just fighting uphill the second half the whole time, then get the lead, and obviously the way it ended, there's nothing I can say in the locker room that makes them feel any better. I was proud of their fight. I was proud of the effort. Again, I thought guys on both teams laid it out there and gave everything they had. So we've got to, regroup, and there's one regular season game left, and go to TCU and try to play better.
The Sooners will try to close out their regular season, as you heard Lon say there, at TCU on a positive note, and bolster their NCAA tournament resume at the same time when they travel to take on the Horned Frogs on Saturday. OU beat them by 20 in Norman the first time around. That's our Sooner recap. Back to you.
All right, Nate, thank you much. The Big 12 regular season now wrapping up on Saturday.
Yep, that game reminded me that it's March, the ending of that game, because we're going to get a whole
We're
bunch
here.
of
It's
those.
alive. You got to get
alive.
mad.
All right, we talked about this schedule a little bit earlier. Let's look at the standings here. Kansas Baylor going to be the 1 and 2. We know that. And then it's jumbled there for pretty much the rest of the way until you get down to TCU and Oklahoma State.
There's a lot going on there. TCU played Oklahoma, so they're still in potential to get out of the first day there. But when you look at those 3 through 6 teams, I think you would say they've all made a strong case to be tournament teams. Some of the non-conferences are a little bit jumbled up. Texas Tech, of course, has the win over Louisville, which helps them a lot. Yeah. Texas, their non-conference wasn't as great. I mean, they had a win against North Carolina, but that doesn't mean much right now. Oklahoma, they played some good teams. They beat Minnesota, even though they're in a strong Big Ten. So you have some cases there, but what's going to help them is if they win against each other. And when you play 3 versus 6, I think that side of the bracket is going to be much more interesting than the one where you have KU and Baylor kind of probably taking care of business on Thursday before you get to Friday semifinal matches. But as always, juicy tournament.
Yeah.
It's going to be Rocky Road flavored, juicy.
Rocky Road ice cream.
Rocky Road ice cream.
I don't want any Rocky Road bubble gum.
Rocky Road bubble gum, juicy goodness. Not really.
Juicy fruit on the floor.
Oh, boy, juicy fruit like M-Tune.
Big 12, 6 teams, maybe 7?
It's going to be hard. I mean, here's the thing. The Big East, that was a good conference, and they proved it. They had the Big East Big 12 Challenge. The Big East won 7 of those games. And I feel like they have 7 teams. The Big 10, there's talk of 10, maybe 11 teams. But the ACC and SEC are just as down this year. ACC, you know, you have Duke, Florida State, Louisville, and after that, they kind of fall off the cliff a little bit. SEC is kind of the same way once you get through Kentucky, Auburn, and LSU. So you have a situation where the Big 12 can slip in, maybe get some of those other teams, but I want to see what happens in some of those mid-major tournaments. Let's say, I don't know, Tulsa wins the American Athletic Conference, and then that means another team loses a bit because they weren't going to be a team that gets in. Or somebody like in the Southern Conference, if somebody not named East Tennessee State, they might get a bit. If Gonzaga doesn't win, the West Coast. So you always have to look out for those things. The thing is, those things happen at like 12 o'clock midnight, and you never really notice it. And then you look up and you're like, how's that team in? Oh, they won.
Right.
All right, so you never know. It's
We've got an intriguing week before the tournament starts anyway. So.
Yes, we do. A lot to deal with on Saturday. Kansas, Texas Tech will be probably the premier game. The eyes of the country will be on that one. But, again, if they slip up and Baylor goes to West Virginia, then congratulations to the Bears on splitting a share of the Big 12 titles. Well deserved for that team who's played very well all year.
Yeah, Drew, probably Coach of the Year, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right, folks. March is here, baby. It's getting intriguing.
Gotta get mad.
Let the madness begin. All 12 Courtside goes all in on that Big 12 tournament happening right here in Kansas City next week.
Yeah, Thursday, 7 p.m., everything, happy hour. Not including Iowa State fans.
We're having happy hour next Thursday?
We got Iowa State fans.
Oh, okay.
Because they're playing for the first. They're playing on the first day.
All right.
So we'll have happy hour.
We'll bring them
and we'll
on.
talk some hoops.
All right. Happy hour and hoops.
Yeah, happy hour and hoops.
I like that combination.
See, there you go. It's fun.
All right. Appreciate y'all watching. I'm Rob Collins.
I'm Harold Goods. We'll see you back here next week, guys.